Welcome back to the Jeff Mayweather Show. Ashley, did you like that intro?
I did like that intro for two reasons. Not only is it the song of my law school, but it's also the same tune. Well, they got it from my undergrad, so that was a double whammy right there.
Oh, there you go. Well, I just thought of that. I thought we'd, since I always insult you to start the show, I thought I'd do something nice and actually give a present to you before we start here. Welcome back to the show. I had to take last week off. I think Jeff was getting a hip replacement there. It happens when you get older, so we weren't able to be on. Jeff, how you feeling? Welcome back.
Oh, well, my hip is better.
All right. Got a great show tonight, guys. We're going to be welcomed here in a little bit by returning guest. Had him on a couple times before, Jessie Vargas. He'll be joining us to talk about his exciting fight that he had this past weekend with Lucky Boy Omotoso. I guess Jesse's a real lucky boy. There was a really close fight, and he got the nod there. So we'll be joined by him in about 20 minutes, so we look forward to that. First, we're going to talk a little boxing, though. You know, Jeff, the one thing I'd like to talk about as we start here is you know, a couple weeks ago the announcement was made about Floyd going over to Showtime, leaving HBO, and now it seems like there's a mass exodus from HBO as they announced that Golden Boy fighters wouldn't be on the card or on their cards anymore, or a part of Showtime. So you know, fighters like Seth Mitchell, Adrian Broner, you know, all those guys. You know, where do you think they end up? Do they end up over on Showtime? Does this open the doors for Broner to possibly get on that May 4th card?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I know that that's not a surprise at all to me, because basically Golden Boy and Mayweather Promotions has basically been working together for about the last 3 or 4 years, you know, cohesively. So the thing is not a surprise, because the one thing is this: Golden Boy is smart enough to know that Floyd is the biggest name, is the biggest commodity in boxing, and actually mostly all their guys that they have are close to Floyd's weight class, so they all have an opportunity to make more money than they ever could in their life, you know. And not only that, it also creates more money for Golden Boy as a whole, even as a promotion. So, I mean, it's a win-win situation for Golden Boy as well.
All right. Now, actually, I know that was something that was a topic that was something you're keeping up with. What are your thoughts about the switches for a lot of these fighters?
Well, I think that you know, they always have the saying, history repeats itself, and I'm definitely a firm believer that in another couple of years, everybody will be friends again, and it'll all be happy. Because, I mean, Pacquiao went over to Showtime, went back to HBO. I don't think that, I mean, I think that right now they're probably angry at each other, but I think it'll, you know, money makes the world go round. So if the situation does change, they may change their tunes.
Yeah. Jeff, I mean, basically, so you know, with Floyd being the first one over, I mean, who do you think? You know, explain, I guess, kind of the politics of how everything works. So, you know, basically, you know, there was, you know, Broner wanted to go over there, but he was an HBO guy. Now the doors are open for that. Basically, anyone Floyd fights, they have to be a Showtime guy, or can they do crossovers? Or is this, you know, was this a necessary thing for him to be able to fight people in the future that are relevant?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think that it's not one of those things. I think that, to be honest, what that creates like a bidding war. And, you know, this network wants it, this network wants it. But at the end of the day, you know, the one thing that that really happened, and most people in the boxing world see it the exact same way I see it, is they lost the biggest name in boxing, the biggest commodity in boxing, and they also lost the future of boxing in Adrian Bronner. So, I mean, that's a major, major hit to any network. You know, so it's a situation in which, of course, that empowers Showtime. But I think that, like I said, at the end of the day, you know, Mayweather Promotions and Golden Boy Promotions has been working cohesively for the last 3 or 4 years. So I don't think that's going to change. So the thing is this: as long as Golden Boy has someone there for Floyd to fight, someone there, you know, possibly now for even Bronner to fight, I mean, fights can be made. You know, and I mean, it's no different than what Top Rank has done. You know, Top Rank, they had in-house boxing, but this is not really in-house boxing because it is still 2 different promotions working cohesively. But you know, with Top Rank, it was one promoter, you know, one operation, and basically their fighters all fighting one another. You know, so I mean, it's no different.
All right. Now, forever HBO has been the top dog, you know, and Showtime's kind of been the you know, an afterthought. You know, not almost an afterthought, but they, you know, certainly have been competitive with HBO. You know, are those days over? Is Showtime the new king of the hill?
I mean, they have the leeway because, I mean, like I said, they have the biggest name in boxing, and not only that, they also have CBS, you know, that's also a part of it. So that reaches a broader audience because, you know, at least some of the advertisements and things like that is going to be on regular TV, and you're going to be able to see stuff on, you know, on regular TV, and, you know, you might, like I said, you can always find different demographic of people who probably never seen a fight, you know, but, you know, maybe the commercial, maybe a little special that they do on the fight, kind of like a 24/7, but I don't know what theirs is called, All Access. If that's done on CBS, I mean, it actually opens the door even more for, you know, for a whole lot of different fans that never really even involved themselves in boxing. So I think that it's, you know, I mean, I think that, of course, Showtime is going to become the big network, right, for at least for now.
Right. Yeah, so let me ask you this. You know, Jeff had mentioned the future of boxing being Adrian Bronner. I think he's probably, you know, he got away with it a little bit this time as far as not being called for him to fight Floyd too much. But I think with a victory by Floyd against Guerrero and Adrian Bronner, one more victory, I think that's going to be the new Pacquiao fight that everyone's looking to see. However, it's a little different this time that obviously Floyd and Bronner are tight. They're friendly. Do you see a huge outcry for that fight coming up, and what do you think? Do you think that can be made?
I mean, it's possible. I think that for a really great fight, you know, I mean, having 2 strong personalities like that could either make it something that everybody wants to see or something that, you know, is just too much personality. Because each of them, and it will come down to, you know, if you can make the same amount of money but not fight maybe the top guy, I mean, maybe either of them would want to be the number one on their card. So, you know, when Mayweather fights somebody, he makes obviously a lot more than the person that he fights. And when Adrian Bronner fights somebody, he makes a lot more than whoever he fights. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, how that would work out. I mean, one of them would have to make a lot less, and I'm not sure the personalities would agree to that.
Well,
I know who might make less.
You know, and being friendly is fine, but I would think if you're a boxer around that weight class, you know, the chance to beat Floyd Mayweather is something that, so whether you get along with it or not, is something that would be hard to pass up an opportunity to do. It's something that's going to, you know, stay with you and make your legacy, basically. So, I mean, Jeff, what do you think about the same thing? And what I'm more interested in is how the build-up to that fight would go. Would they remain friendly, or would one of them turn, you know, and be the heel of the build-up?
Well, I think that as of right now, I think that the potential for the fight happening is not, is not a reality. Because it's one of those things that just because people say you need to fight this person in this, they're not even on that wavelength. That's something that people are just saying. Adrian Bonner made it clear that, I don't want to fight Floyd. And of course, not that Floyd said he didn't want to fight him, but it's a situation in which he's a kid that looks up to Floyd. And of course, he also realized that he's going to be filling Floyd's shoes soon. And it ain't that long. And it's not like he's not in Floyd's shadow, because just as much light is being shined on him as it is Floyd, even more. And because of what Floyd did, by being able to get such a huge deal, that opens the door for Bonner even more. He can say, well, okay, down the line, I want what Floyd got and more. But, and that's how everything happens. I remember there was a time in basketball when Glenn Robinson said he wanted $100 million. Everybody thought he was crazy. Next thing you know, 5 years later, guys are getting a $100 million contract. Some guys that, not even stars in the league, getting a $100 million contract. But that's what happens when you open your mouth. Somebody has to open their mouth, open the door for somebody else. And basically that's what Floyd did. He opened the door for Bonner to be his own star.
Yeah, but and Broner hasn't come out and said that he wants to fight or like that, but thinking, obviously it's Floyd's kind of been a role model or whatever you want to call it, but, at the same time when Broner thinks he's ready, what a way to kickstart your superstar career than, kind of out with the old and in with the new. And if it was my mentality, I'm thinking, man, if I take this guy down, that I completely step into a spot, right there. You get that victory, now you're the next Floyd Mayweather. You just kind of basically completely filled his shoes and proved it by beating him. So, he said it, but
that's a fan's perspective. That's a fan's perspective. Like I said, they have a great relationship. I can't say that their relationship won't change, because that's very possible that their relationship could change, and then it could actually become a reality, But as of right now, he's a guy who has great respect for Floyd, and I won't say that he idolizes Floyd, but there's a lot of things that Floyd do that he tries to emulate, So I think that it's one of those things right now where, okay, he's my big brother, and I'm not going to disrespect him, or I'm not going to come at him in that way, And so right now it's just a thing that, you yourself, probably a lot of other people, they're going to be saying the same thing you're saying, but that all depends on what happens with him, But like I said, whether he fights Floyd or not, he's already considered the next Floyd. You don't have to fight Floyd to prove anything.
You don't have to, but it sure pays a lot better. So, we'll see. Like I said, who knows how to play out. We'll see. Probably be a couple of years for it to worry about that. The one thing I'd like to know real quick, though, Jeff, is does Floyd, all money aside, I realize that, money is the number one consideration when picking your opponent. You want to make the most money, sell the most pay-per-views. But, as a fighter, does he prefer to fight people that he's indifferent about, that he hates, that, that he would be friendly with? What kind of person would he prefer to fight?
Boxing is a job. It's not about, if I like this guy or this, that, whatever. Sometimes decisions are made that way. Floyd gave Zab Judah opportunity because he liked Zab Judah. So it does happen, but at the end of the day, it's a business. So it's not just Floyd himself, it's the network. Everybody got to have, their say in who we think is right and who the people want to see you fight. And it ain't always, and sometimes it doesn't boil down to, it's like this for Floyd. No matter who Floyd beats, he's never going to get credit. And because there's always going to be somebody out there. You should be fighting Sergio Martinez. Floyd never fought at 160 pounds. He has no business fighting Sergio Martinez. Now, all of a sudden, because, you know, Floyd said something about Andre Ward, and Andre Ward, you know, because he's in support of Guerrero, so now all of a sudden that's a war. But the reality is, I'll fight Floyd if he comes up to 160. Why don't you fight him at 147? He's never even fought at 154 pounds. He won the title twice, but he weighed under the limit. So come to 147 and find out what you got then. Floyd don't need you. He don't need you.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
You need him. No, I'm just saying. I mean, because Floyd doesn't need him. You need him. You need Floyd.
Right.
Floyd doesn't need you.
Right. Now, actually, I think the real question here is why is Floyd ducking the Klitschko brothers?
He doesn't have to duck to miss them. I mean, but here's the thing, you know, somebody does need to let Adrian Broner know that it is okay to idolize Floyd, but he doesn't need to go out and get arrested. He doesn't need to follow in all footsteps.
Yeah, I guess
he
you gotta
take some of the lessons and apply them to his life. Maybe not the best move.
Yeah, I guess you gotta arrest that.
What you gotta realize is this: he didn't get the name the problem because he idolized Floyd. Adrian Broner been in a whole lot more trouble than Floyd ever been in.
Yeah. Speaking of trouble, Ashley, have you seen the whole feud brewing, not between Floyd and Robert, but between the fathers there? Have you been keeping up with it all? The troubles between Floyd Sr. and Ruben Guerrero going at each other. Have you seen that at all?
Yeah, and it makes, I think it's great. The only thing that's better is when the wives get into it. Like Rachel Donaire, whenever Rachel Donaire gets into it with somebody, it's amazing because she is scary. So, I mean, with all due respect, because I don't want to start anything with her, I would not want to be the other person on another side of an argument with her. I'll tell you that much.
All right. And Jeff, what about you? I know, you know, being your brother and all, you know, they both shown a desire looking at fighting each other, so they'll do it in the ring, they'll do it on the streets, wherever. You know, is it all private promotion? I don't think with your brother, I don't think that's just thing to sell tickets.
No, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. It's, you know, it helps the promotion. But, you know, just like I told you, I mean, nobody's paying no damn money to see them. So, I mean, nobody cares about, you know, two guys that one guy ain't never fought in his life, and then one guy who's really been over for 30 years. Nobody cares about that. You know, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's just it's cute. It's part of the promotion. It's cute. It's something to sell even more to the fans. But realistically, it's a joke because neither one of them has no business, you know, really trying to fight one another because they're not getting no damn check.
They should probably do an American Gladiator style fight where they have those long sticks and they have to hit each other off the pole. I think people are paying more to see that.
Yeah, I actually think you're right, Jimmy.
They could wear those cute little spandex outfits. It'd be great.
those spandex outfits are cute on young people in shape, not on older people. Yeah, Jeff, I actually think you're wrong. I think there would be some interest. I don't know if it's selling the extra tickets, but I'm sure people would love to see him go at it. The one thing I always, you know, I was surprised the first time I met Floyd was at the gym with Celestino there, and you know, you look at him and Roger, and you say, well, they're older. You know, they're showing their years a little bit. They've been through the wars, and you think they're beat up, and then all of a sudden they start moving, and you just, you know, it's just kind of shocking. You know, I was just amazed at how fast Floyd still is at his, you know, age and all the things he's gone through. Not someone I certainly want to fight at all.
I mean, Floyd, don't get me wrong. He keeps himself in shape, you know, and you know, but I mean, he's not in no shape to be fighting. I mean, Floyd's a sick man. Even though he may look healthy, I mean, he has sarcoidosis. So, I mean, of course, I mean, that's just the man in him that comes out. But, and to be honest, in the beginning, he was just a joke, I mean, Floyd does that, he does that to, get under somebody's skin. And obviously it works.
Sorry about that. Dogs, again, it happens every show. Why is it, Jeff, that you're not, you're the laid back, the quiet Mayweather, if you will. You never seem to get worked up, bothered by anything. You're just a laid back guy. What does it make you so much different than your brothers who are, have tendencies to get into it with people?
I mean, the thing is that basically we just happen to come from the same place, but we're all individuals. And, me, that's just not my personality, never will be my personality. I'm never one of those people that I don't even care about the spotlight being on me. I don't care about nobody, telling me how good I am or how great I am. I'm confident enough in myself and belief, have enough belief in myself to know I can give my own self a compliment. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want it, but what I'm saying is that if it don't happen, you're not going to hear me barking and yelling about this, that to try to get it, because that's not me, and it never will be me.
We're going to get Jessie Vargas here in just 1 second. I want to change subjects for just a moment here while we get ready to get Jessie. Hey, Ashley, you're going to miss your buddy Lydell Rhodes. I guess he's fighting out here May 3rd or the day before. Are you heartbroken? It's actually pretty interesting. He's fighting another Mayweather boxer, someone from the Mayweather Boxing Club in Don Moore.
I know, and I just cannot get over how many times a year he fights. It's crazy. Like, he's already fought 3 times this year, and he's going to be fighting again. And I am upset I'm missing it, but I am going to be knee-deep in finals, so I am hoping that I remember my name at that point.
All right, well, actually, I'm going to go... Yeah, why don't you expand on that, and I'll let you and Jeff talk for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get Jessie on the phone. So expand on how you're in your last semester, how things are going there, and what's it looking like for you heading to your finals.
Well, see, my problem is that I'm a huge boxing fan, but I'm also trying to graduate school, and unfortunately, boxing tends to have big fights over Cinco de Mayo and over, early December. And that's a problem because that's always when I have finals. And my professors, I don't think, would like it if I said to them, I can't come to your final because I'm going to go out to Vegas for a fight. I'm just not sure. So. Jeff, are you gonna write me a note that I can give to my professors? Ashley's excused until next week.
Maybe I'll try that. But you know what? Actually, you know what's funny? It's ironic that I went through the same process but I was still an amateur, and I was in the Golden Glove Nationals, and I was once I lost, I had time to study because I was studying for my final exams. Because as soon as I got back from the tournament, I was actually was going to be having my final exams for graduation. Trying to graduate from college. So, I mean, I understand exactly what you're going through, but for me it was a little different because I was I was actually active, but I was an amateur at that time. But, I mean, I was in a major tournament, and it's funny because I met a lot of people there. That's the first time I met Roy Jones, I met Kevin Kelly, I met quite a few people, but the thing is once I lost, I had to go study for final exam. Most of the other guys, they were having fun, hanging out, because I mean they lost, and I mean there was nothing else to do but just, have camaraderie with all the other different fighters.
Yeah.
But I was locked in a room, so I understand exactly what you're talking about because that's most important. That's what you have to focus on.
That sounds way worse than anything I have to deal with. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine having to actually go take a final after that. Wow. I mean, Because you can't concentrate on a final when somebody is about to hit you in the face, I'm sure. Algebra, what? Bam.
I guess it's just one of those things that, it's what we sign up for, and if we want it bad enough, we're going to find a way to get it done.
Exactly. Well, I'm just so excited because this is my last year of school. So this December and this next May, I will be able to enjoy the holidays and go out and see the fights. And so hopefully there will be good fights next year. See, it's possible that Mayweather and Pacquiao are just waiting so I can go watch the fight. I mean, it's it's probably more about that than anything else.
It's possible.
Well, Ashley, is there any chance, you never know, they might have the fight there in Oklahoma. Floyd and then and Manny right there in Oklahoma would be great, wouldn't it?
See, I actually would rather they do it at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. I like Oklahoma, but I'm a little bit more of a Texas person.
Yes, somehow I'm doubting that we ever see Floyd fight in Oklahoma. I could be wrong, but you never know.
There's not a stadium. Unless you're going to fight in Oklahoma Stadium, there's nowhere big enough for him.
Exactly. Still working on Jessie Vargas. As usual, having problems a little bit, so we're get him on here in just a moment. We'll continue on while we wait for him. I missed anything there? I heard you talking about the school, so you about have that wrapped up, and you're looking forward to joining the real world?
Well, no, I'm not looking forward to joining the real world at all, but apparently they're telling me I have to do that, so, it's nice to be done with class sometimes early in the day and be able to go to happy hour, and apparently in the real world you can't always do that, so we'll see how that
especially if you're going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, well, but apparently drinking and being a lawyer do tend to go together to some degree, so.
Exactly. Jeff, will we wait to get... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I still have to pass the bar exam, so I still have a little bit more time after that.
Moving on, we'll wait for Jessie. Jeff, I know you're not heading to Maine, right? I know you have Ryan Martinez, the guy you've been working with at Bellator. You have no plans of going to Maine, do you?
No, I'm not going to Maine because that Cooper fight is too close.
Oh, that's right.
You fight.
Yeah, and I'm not sure they allow people like you in Maine, right? That'd be a...
I fought in Maine before.
Oh, you fought in Maine. How was that?
And I don't care to go back there. It's the longest flight in the history. I think it took me a day to get to Maine.
All right, well, tell us about, we've had Zach Cooper on here before. Tell us about, him. He's had a couple changes of opponents. He's 1-0. He had a great fight his first time out, the easy first-round knockout. So tell us about what he's got going up and how he's been looking.
Well, I mean, Zach is astute, and Zach works extremely hard, probably harder than he should for a 4-round fight. So I got to, put a leash on him sometime to, to slow him down and let him realize that, guy, you're only fighting 4 rounds. You're not fighting 12. So stop burning yourself out. But, I'm looking for a great performance from Zach again. I mean, he's worked hard and, he's been looking good in sparring. So, he should be ready.
Okay. Well, and now he was saying that oh, go ahead, Ashley.
I was just going to say, if you ever need somebody to, tell him to calm down and chill out, you tell him to call me, and I'll give him a lecture.
Okay, I'll do that.
If he gives Zach your number, Zach will be calling you for a date, not a lecture.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about on the way home. Even though he invites you to the pool, his wife will be there.
I don't want to distract him too much.
Yeah, you won't be able to talk until after his fight. That's right. What about what else going on, Jeff? I know, let's talk about Celestino. He's back in the gym, back in the swing of things. It's interesting with a fighter his age at that weight class. Usually traditionally the heavyweights and heavier fighters continue on. Lighter fighters usually have trouble as they advance in age. He's been out of the ring for, over a year now. How's he looking? Any concerns about the time he's been away? And as you answer that, Jesse just called in, so we'll bring him on right after you answer that.
Not really. I mean, Celestino's a hard worker. He's very dedicated to his craft, and so I don't worry about him at all. I mean, he's been looking great in the gym, so that's how I measure. That's my barometer as to where he's at. So, and he's been doing great. So I expect great performance on fight time.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and bring on our first guest of the evening. Just improved his record of 22-0 with a very exciting fight and a victory over Lucky Boy Omotoso this past weekend on the Tim Bradley card. Jessie Vargas. Jessie, congratulations. Welcome to Jeff Mayweather Show. You're on with myself, Jeff, and Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for
all right, well, Jesse, like I said, congratulations. You moved to 22-0. Tell us about the fight. I mean, do you feel like now that we no longer can call you a prospect and you're officially a full? I mean, I guess before we were talking about possibility of a Pacquiao fight, so I guess it's hard to say you were a prospect. But do you feel like a full-fledged contender now?
Well, the word prospect doesn't bother me at all. I could say a prospect for now. It's all it means is I'm most likely to succeed. So that's okay with me. And we just came from a great win and a big win, and sky's the limit.
Right. Well, and I guess better calling you a prospect than calling you an opponent, right? That's the worst thing I guess you can be called when you're. Jeff, did you see the fight? And what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I got a chance to see the fight. It was a great fight. I mean, both fights were great. I thought that Jesse started out a little rough, and but kept his composure, came back strong, and actually he had, made adjustments as the fight went on. I mean, I've seen where he was boxing the guy, and and a few times he had to plant his feet and become a warrior and make the guy respect him. So, I mean, it was an awesome fight.
All right. Now,
Thank you,
Jesse, sorry, I didn't interrupt you there. Jesse, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's start with the beginning of the fight, which obviously was not your better half of the fight. Had some trouble there. Obviously, the guy's a lot bigger than you, so you're fighting a big dude there. Second round, you went down from a body shot. Tell us that, when you first got in there, were you surprised by his power? Were you, a little overwhelmed at first? And were you ever worried that, man, you might be in over your head?
Not at all. To tell you the truth, I was. I mean, I knew he had power. I mean, with having 19 KOs out of 23, I mean, the guy had pop. I mean, But to tell you the truth, I wasn't too worried about it because this is the way that I felt. I felt that he didn't have more power than I did. To tell you the truth, that's the mentality that I came into the fight. I was, he has. For this fight, I worked a lot on having more strength, having more pop behind my punch, and I knew that in this fight he didn't have the upper hand on power. I think we were the same. I think we were on an even playing field when it comes to power, and I showed it in the 5th round. And in the beginning too. I mean, the guy, he's usually just an all-pressure fighter, and he had his moments where he had to take a step back. As for the body shot, I mean, it wasn't a body shot. It was a punch that kind of just barely touched my shoulder, and as he threw it, I also threw a big looping right hand, which I missed, and I fell off balance when I missed it.
I've seen that.
It wasn't a punch. Yeah, it wasn't a punch, but
it wasn't a punch.
He was strong. I mean, he is a strong fighter. He has a nice pop, but he never hurt me. To tell you the truth, he didn't hurt me. I mean, he did catch me some clean shots, but nothing that I was worried about. Just, I thought in the ring, well, this guy has some power, and that's all that was going through my mind. He has some power, and we have to eliminate that right hand.
Now, I know you've been on the show before, Jesse, but you haven't been on here. We had Ashley with us, Ashley Ferrara. She's a ring card girl in Oklahoma, and I was going to say law student as well. She's a huge fan of boxing. I know. Ashley, did you get a, what do you think early on in the fight and what you saw?
I did. I actually was so excited to watch that fight, and probably more excited to watch it even than the Bradley fight. I mean, they both ended up being really good. But, I was a little nervous at the beginning of the fight. And I guess, I'm just curious, when you do feel your opponent slipping, do you think in your head, like, oh, just stay down, don't get back up, or are you already planning your next moves for when they either get back up or kind of recover from what you've done to them?
All right. Well, first of all, hi, Ashley. Now come back to your question. It wasn't a shot that made me put my knee to the canvas. But when I got up, I figured that the ref was gonna call it a slip, or not a knockdown, because it wasn't a knockdown. But he did.
Right.
And when he did, I just shook my head, like saying no, it wasn't. But there's really nothing you can do at that point. If he counted as a knockdown, he did, and all you have to do is come back stronger. So, and that's exactly what I did. If he came out, I wanted to make sure that I was going to clip him, touch him with some punches, and that way he knows that, hey, you ain't doing anything to me, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, it definitely worked out for you. Congratulations. That was definitely not an easy fight, and I'm really happy for you, for sure.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
Well, now Jesse, the one thing that
the guy. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Jesse.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, Ashley's right. It wasn't an easy fight. We had two. Anytime that you have two undefeated fighters fighting to stay undefeated, it's never easy, because they all want to give it their all, and especially with this fight, because it was a huge opportunity being on HBO and giving a great performance to continue to step forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, whether or not that was a knockdown or not, one thing I don't think even you would dispute is, the early part of the fight was definitely to his advantage. Jeff, what did you see that enabled him, starting to, in the middle rounds, to start to turn the tide and turn things in his favor?
Well, I mean, once Jesse started to box on the outside, it seemed like he started to box a lot smarter. He wasn't caught up in trying to, prove that he was stronger than the guy. He became the smarter guy. He became smart as opposed to trying to go toe to toe and try, the macho attitude. And then he started to take control of the fight because he started boxing on the outside. And then not only when he was boxing on the outside, he planted his foot. He put his foot down when it was time for him to go to war, if it was just for a second, and to let the guy know that you're not finna just run me over. I don't care what you think, and like I said, I was proud of Jesse. He dug down at times, because there were times in the fight where it looked like the guy really rocked him, and then he would come back and he would rock the guy. It was an exciting fight. It was a very good fight, a great fight for HBO.
Right. Jesse, your thoughts on that? What do you think it was that turned the tide in your favor?
Yeah, well, Jeff pretty much, he put it very well put. I just started using more intelligence. I tried outsmarting him. I have very good footwork, and we did use our footwork, even though I wasn't running, I wasn't moving too much, but I was moving just enough to keep him busy, and not to let him know where I was at. Even if it's just a quick step to the right or a quick step to the left, maybe just half an inch to the left, but it's still, a small movement, and then that kind of caught him off guard. And like Jeff said, we boxed at moments, and then again we would sit there, take our time, pick our moments when we wanted to go to war for a second, or for a couple punches, and then again we would keep our distance. We had the better jab, so we used our jab, and that was a great weapon. And from there, from the jab started everything. Whatever I wanted to do, I had to start from the jab, and then from there I'd find out what I would do after that.
Right. Well, tell us about that fifth round. You tried to finish him off there. It looked like you had a shot. Somehow he stayed in there. Were you kind of hoping he'd go down, or were you surprised that he was able to stay up? And the one thing I was worried about was, at this point you're throwing so much. I'm wondering if you gassed yourself, and I was worried, obviously I was wrong, but in the later rounds, that you might have punched yourself out.
Yeah. Well, I wanted him out of there, no doubt about it. I mean, he was a good fighter that was given a good fight, and if you get the opportunity to take him out, of course, you're going to take it, and that's exactly what I did. I wanted to take him out of the game in the 5th round. I had time, but he was able to stand in there, and you could tell he didn't want to give up, even though he was just throwing very light punches sometimes. Maybe he was trying. He didn't quit. You could tell, and as many punches I landed some solid uppercuts, right hands, hooks, and the guy was gonna go down, but he was able to hang in there. And as of gassing out, I didn't gas out. I did at moment, I kind of slowed down and I said, well, hey, I can't gas out. I can't give it my all because this guy still has some, he can have some power. He can recover. So I had to be ready for it. So I kind of took a, he was holding me. I took a moment to breathe, and then after that, when I want to start again, the bell rang. But those are mistakes that are made because I think instead of just rushing in and trying to take him out, I think that we should have just took a step back, prepared 1, 2 big shots, just as we did from the beginning, and then that would have been a lot easier. But those are mistakes that are made. You learn as you go, and I rushed in and I tried to get him out of there instead of preparing that next big shot.
Right. So tell us, you obviously, like, so the first half was him, and the second half was all you. You go to the scorecards here. Were you worried at the time? Obviously, some people say he won. I think maybe a little more than half think that you won. A lot of people say, what's that?
I wasn't worried not one bit, to tell you the truth. Coming into the fight, what was going through my mind in the first round, to tell you the truth, in the fight, I thought I had the round. I said, all right, this is mine. Second round, I thought that it was his. I was like, all right, I think that's the round that I went down. I knew it was a 10-8 round, so I knew that I needed to step it up. And in the third round, I also said, you know what, he got this one. So second and third, in my own mind, I thought were his. And then from then on, the fourth, that's when I started hurting him. The fifth, that's when I almost finished him. The sixth, I had him under control. The seventh, eighth, from the fourth round on, I had everything under control. That's what I felt. And the first round, I started it off pretty good as well. So I was pretty confident.
Right. No one's really calling. Like I said, some people.
It was a
think
good
that he
fight.
won.
No doubt about it. It was a good fight. It was a competitive matchup. He never gave up. He was consistent. He tried to land that big right, and at times he would put pressure. I'm not saying it was a one-sided fight. It was competitive. But I felt that I had control of the fight.
Right. Two of the judges had 96-93, one 97-92. Not really anyone's not complaining about the 96-93. Like I said, most people that, no one's crying robbery on this. Some people think, might have had the other way, but no one thinks it's a great shame or anything like that. The 97-92 seems a little, a little out of whack. But Jeff, as you watched it, how did you have this fight scored?
Well, I guess I wasn't really watching the fight for scoring. I was just watching the fight because I know Jessie personally, and basically, so I watched the fight totally different. I'm not actually sitting down trying to play judge. Basically, at the end of the day, I'm picking who I thought won the fight, and basically, like I said, I seen Jessie make adjustments, and I thought that the adjustments that he made actually won the fight for him.
Right. Now, Ashley, you as someone that doesn't know Jessie at all, a complete outsider, and didn't know that we were having Jessie on this week or anything about him really, how did you see the fight? How did you score it?
Well, I did not know who he was.
You don't know him personally.
A little fun fact, though, last year when I ring-carded the fight at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Lucky Boy was actually on that undercard, and I did get to see him last year before he was kind of a much bigger name, and he was a very nice guy. So, I'm glad that he did get his chance also to try to prove himself.
Well, to interrupt you, Jessie is not a nice guy, so that's one thing that Omotoso had in his advantage, because Jessie's one of the the least pleasant boxer you'll ever meet. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead,
He
anyway.
sounds miserable. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I thought that it was a little closer. I think the 98-92 or 97-92 was a little aggressive, but again, the judges always say that they have a unique perspective from where they're sitting. So I guess you have to maybe think that judge had a great perspective to see Jessie, working hard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, Jessie, this is your second, really, really close fight. The other one being the Lopez fight that was really close. But looking back, a couple of days later, judging your performance, was this your signature win? Or how does this win look for you? Does it elevate you any? Does it keep you the same? Or how do you rate it?
Of course, I think it elevates me just being on HBO. A lot of people got to see this fight. And, it was a good performance, but, there's always room for an improvement. I'm a young fighter, 23 years old, and, I'm trying to become the best fighter that I can. So, I'm going to continue to learn from every fight. And, it was a great matchup, and, up to the next one.
All right. And then the one thing as the fight was going on, I was following along on a couple of chat boards, and, you're kind of a really polarizing fighter for whatever reason, and I think that ultimately is a good thing for you because, people have opinions about you. A lot of people like you, a lot of people don't, but as long as they care about you, that's the most important thing. But, a lot of people going into the fight, and this kind of touches back to what Jeff said with, you wanting to maybe bang too much at times, but a lot of people's criticism that your fights aren't that exciting. This one, and then by the end of this fight, a lot of people were saying, well, now I'm a Jessie Vargas fan. I changed my opinion. He really came out there. How do you look at it from that aspect? And I guess as Jeff said earlier, that sometimes you get in there, maybe want to go to war too much. Actually, let me start with you, Jeff. First, do you think that's a mistake at times, when he gets more exciting as opposed to just winning, or what?
Well, I think that, of course, at the end of the day, fans want to see excitement, but at the same time, I think that at the end of the day, winning is more important than anything. And basically, me, myself, as a trainer, most of my guys, I try to teach them to be boxers first. You don't slug unless you have to. So basically, that's my systematic way of fighting is basically be the guy as easy as you can. But, when you have to stand, take a stand, you do, So you got to be prepared for both, And don't get me wrong, sometimes, just because of the fact that I think Jessie is a Latino fighter, that's expected of him, as opposed to, being a cutie out there boxing, that's not accepted as well. But at the same time, Marco Antonio Barrera was a warrior, complete warrior, turned around, became a complete boxer. And they still loved him because he made that adjustment. So it's one of those things that, it's just, at some point in time, Jessie's going to have to, find which works best for him, and not so much worry about what the fans think or anything, because fans are fickle. Fans are going to love you one night, next night they'll hate you. So it's one of those things that you can't really fight so much for the fans rather than fighting for yourself, because at the end of the day, you got to deal with what happens.
All right. Jessie, your thoughts on that? And like the question I had as far as your different styles and different approaches to the fights.
Well, Jeff, he put it up very well. You can't beat that. It was great. He put. He actually he's giving me advice. He's saying what he thinks, but it's actually advice because that's the way it is. But you're always gonna have you can have fans that have something positive to say and fans that have something negative to say. You can't have everyone happy. But you have believers and you have unbelievers. You have people that don't believe in you. But my ultimate goal is to have the non-believers be believers. And be a supporting Team Vargas by the end of my career. you know, and I'm hoping to give you exciting fights. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard was just a straight boxer, but he always gave you an entertaining fight at a distance. You know, the reason I said at a distance is because he fought at his distance, but his fights were very entertaining. So I think there is a way of being an exciting fighter and being a boxer. You know, I think I'm a boxer, but I also know when to brawl. So I think that every one of my fights is going to be an entertaining matchup. I mean, anyone that says I'm a boring fighter, all I have to say is bring me one boring fight. That is not a Steve Forbes and Jessie Vargas fight. Don't include that one. You know what I mean? I mean, and I'll tell you, you know, I was prepared for Gomez 6 weeks preparation of 5 weeks. The preparation of 5 weeks for Gomez. All of a sudden, he's a pressured fighter. All of a sudden, they changed it to Steve Forbes, who's completely the opposite and a counterpuncher. You know what I mean? You have 1 week to prepare for that. You know, it could bring some difficulties. But anyone that says that Jessie Vargas is a boring fighter, bring me one fight that Jessie Vargas is in a boring fight. That isn't Steve Forbes and Jessie Vargas fight. You know what I mean? Out of 20 fights, I'm not a boring fighter. Out of 21, you know, I'm not a boring fighter. That's a fact.
Well, like I said,
but,
I think, you know,
we can't have everyone happy. You know, I'm happy how my career is going, and I'm very thankful. You know, I thank God every day for everything that I have, and not just my boxing career, but my life in general.
Well, you know, you like I said, you certainly changed a lot of people's opinions in this fight here. You know, how hard is it for you to maintain discipline in a fight? You know, and stick to a plan. And like I said, it seems like at times, you know, you will revert back and forth, you know, to the brawler boxer. You know, is it hard to maintain that discipline and strictly follow a plan instead of just, you know, getting pissed off and start swinging for the fences? And also, touching back on what we were just talking about, do you think the fact that, you know, you do have the Mexican heritage, the fact that you don't have a traditional, you know, I guess Mexican style all the time is part of the reason why, you know, the people have expectations of what you should be as a Mexican fighter?
Well, you know, for your first question, I think that it's not very difficult for me to switch styles. I mean, or to stay focused on just one style, because I mean that's what we prepare for, the game plan. We make a game plan, and I make sure that I follow it. You know, of course, sometimes you're gonna be lured into brawl, but at the end you have to find what's best for you and then what style is working better for you. You know, and me, I mean, being a competitive boxer, fighter, puncher, brawler, you have to find out what style you have to bring in at what moment. You know, and that's what entertains me. I mean, I always say I had fun in this last fight because it was entertaining and it was a competitive matchup. You know, and I was entertained because I was looking, I was thinking, all right, I'm gonna step left, I'm gonna step right, and I'm gonna hit you, and then we're gonna brawl. You know, you're thinking and you're trying to outsmart him. So to me, it was entertaining, and it's not very difficult for me not to fall into brawling because I think I choose the moments when I need brawl and when I need a box. And having my trainer Robert Alcazar, it makes it that much easier because he always reminds me what we have to do and what the game plan is. Now, as for Mexican, your Mexican style, I mean, I'm Mexican American. I'm not gonna lie. What I am and who I am. You know, my family is we're born in Mexico. And my father and my mother, they were born in Acapulco, Guerrero. I was born in Los Angeles, California. I'm not gonna lie where I'm from. You know, it's just everyone from the U.S. enjoy any Mexican American style as long as they come to fight. Either it's boxing or brawling, but just, you know, that mixes it up and entertains the fans. Now, you know, sometimes, unfortunately for me, you know, I'm Mexican American. That's it. I feel very Mexican. I know that I'm Mexican, born in the United States, and of course thankful for the opportunity here in the U.S. that, you know, I was born here. Now, people that live in Mexico, you know, sometimes they say, well, he's not Mexican, he was born in the U.S. You know what I mean? Where in fact, I was born in California. California was a part of Mexico. You know, it was just that for some reason it became United States and no longer Mexico. So people that are from Mexico, born in Mexico, and they're boxing fans, they choose not to support some, of course, some, and it's a big sum too. They choose not to support people that are Mexican fighters that are Mexican American because, well, he's not 100% Mexican. and that's the only reason that sometimes we might not have them all the Mexican fighters. But eventually, I think you give them a great fight, they'll follow you. That's what I think. It's gonna be it's gonna be a little harder to win them over, but it's possible, and I plan on doing just that.
Right. Jeff, we've had Jessie on several times, but one thing that's certainly changed about Jessie is I think this is the most animated we've ever had. He's kind of heated up tonight a little bit, huh?
No, I mean I'm very happy to be on the show. I feel comfortable. Jody, I know you. Jeff, I know Jeff since I was 8 years old. So I'm comfortable talking to you guys. And Ashley, of course, I'm getting comfortable here as well.
Aw, thank you.
Ashley, let me ask you this, since she's
Ashley, next
she's
fight
kind
you're
of
going for me, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you should have seen it. Good thing you don't do Twitter too much, Jessie, because she was rooting the whole time against you. Saying, "Come on, lucky boy," the whole time. It was terrible.
Well, hopefully next time she'll root for me.
Yeah. We'll make her a convert, but no, I was just kidding about that. But Ashley, let me ask you this: you're the big the TV and kind of person and following all that works. Kind of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. What do you think is next or what would you like to see next for Jessie? I mean, the one thing, you have to worry about not only the Top Rank, who seems to have just, in-house fights, but then now you have a TV deal with limited people on HBO. So what would you like to see next for Jessie, if you have any thoughts on that immediately?
Well, obviously, after the card this week, I would love to see Ruslan fight anybody, because that was such a good fight, and I feel like he would make a good fight with anybody. So if that could get worked out, I mean, I know that he's not a top-ranker boy. I think he's banner star, so that could be something. But it's really, I mean, what I want and what will actually end up happening probably are completely different. So, we'll see, I guess.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, Jessie, I mentioned, I think on your Facebook that, it seemed like they're kind of grooming you and Bradley to have a showdown there. Do you think that's something they do next, or do they have, you fight Ruslan there, and obviously that was a great match there, another really close fight that could have went either way, and I thought it was a shame that the fans actually booed that decision at the end, because, that was an incredible fight, either way it went, but, would you like to fight either one of those guys? Or who?
Of course. I mean, they're good. Timothy Bradley has the world title, in the welterweight division, and that would be a huge opportunity for me. And of course, I would love that opportunity. But at the end, it's up to my manager, Cameron Duncan, and my promoter, Top Rank. I have to sit down with them, and that way we can talk and see what's next for Team Vargas. But I'll fight with Ruslan or Timothy Bradley. It would make for some great matchups. So it'd be some great matchups. They both have a lot of heart.
Jeff, let's pretend you got your dream job. You're working with Top Rank. You're doing the promoting there. Where do you put Jessie? Do you step him all the way up to Bradley and give him that shot, or do you, like I said, do you have the Ruslan fight there? Obviously an exciting fighter. And if he can get through that, then you give the shot at Bradley, or where do you put him next, or some other name?
Well, I mean, myself, I would avoid that guy, the Russian dude. I would avoid him. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
That guy's very dangerous. But and I think that Bradley is an easier fight than this guy is. Bradley is not a puncher. Only thing with Bradley's in tremendous shape. And that's what saved him, because of his work ethic. Other than that, Bradley would have been knocked out in 2 or 3 rounds. But what I'm saying is that as a matchmaker, I would avoid that guy altogether because he don't mean nothing. You beat him, so what? All you did was have a tough fight, because it's going to be a tough fight. It's not going to be no walk in the park. You're not going to go out there and knock that guy out in 1 round or anything like that. It's not going to happen. So I would avoid that guy altogether. That guy, he already lost to Tim Bradley, so he don't have no rematch clause against this guy. So, And like I said, he's not a top-ranked fighter. So what you do is you match both of your fighters. That way you keep the title. It makes no difference who wins. That's the business. So you know, and that's why Bob has done business like that for probably the last 5 years.
So you go ahead and put him in with Bradley now?
I think he's ready for Bradley.
Yeah. See, what I think I'd do, I think, you know, like I said, Jesse got a lot of converts here, got a lot of positive press, you know, looked good in this fight, you know, really exciting fight. I think you find him someone, you know, this kind of goes back on what I've said before as far as stepping up as competition, but I think you give him a showcase fight, someone, you know, that's you know, well thought of, but someone tailor-made for Jesse to really show off his skills and look his best. And then, you know, a dominating victory, then you put him in against Bradley because, you know, that way you have a clear-cut, you know, decisive, like so that signature win without, you know, a highlight real performance or whatever. Then you can really sell that fight with Bradley. You know, that's what I'd do. Ashley, you know, you're the other fan that doesn't know anything about boxing like me. You know, what do you think?
Oh, me or Ashley?
No, I asked Ashley. She's probably studying or something.
Are
you there, Ashley? Did I lose you? Let me see. All right, well, why don't you go ahead and talk on that, Jesse?
Well, I mean,
yeah, we don't.
Me as a
she's
fighter,
back. Wait, let me interrupt you. Wait, no, she's back on. Ashley, go ahead. Did you hear the question?
Yeah, I got so excited I picked up my phone and accidentally hung up. See, I always look at it from what I want to see, which is so completely different from what is good for the fighter necessarily, and what is good for you know, the promotional company or anything like that. So I definitely know that my view is probably always a little bit skewed as opposed to, you know, the person who actually has to get in the ring with it, because there are a lot of people that I would definitely not want to get in the ring with. So I can understand why there's hesitation and strategy to it.
All right. Hey, Jesse, answer that question, then also touching on the HBO thing. You know, I don't know how much it affects you because, you know, obviously Top Rank for the most part keeps, you know, fighters in-house. But do you think the falling out between HBO and Golden Boy is going to have any kind of impact on you and your career?
Well, the first question, I think that, you know, whatever Cameron Duncan and my promoter Top Rank has in line for me, you know, I think that's, you know, I think they're very good at what they do, and, you know, if whoever they say we're fighting next, that's who we're fighting next. And, you know, I would love any opportunity with any world champion. You know, as a fighter, you want to beat the best, so then you can show you're the best, you know, and show our improvement, show my improvement. So, you know, I'm not scared of anyone. I'll fight anyone. And I'll coming back to your second question.
What about a Steve Forbes rematch?
Steve Forbes, well, I mean, I beat him already. You know what I mean? I beat him already. I don't really win anything in beating him. So I would like someone to put me to the test and you know, bring out the best of Jessie Vargas.
All right, what about the HBO thing I mentioned?
HBO, well, Top Rank has a lot of fighters also. You know, they have you know, Manny Pacquiao, Marcus. So at least in my welterweight and in the welterweight division, I don't have to worry about. You know, I'm gonna stay busy. As for the HBO parting ways, you know, I guess you know, there's some promotional problems, and you know, I just hope that we could, you know, the companies could work together. Eventually, they can work together. I think we can make some great matches.
Right. Right. If you were able, you know, I know you obviously want to win a title, but if you could fight, if you got to pick your own, not let your manager say, just your own, who you'd like to fight, would you rather have Marquez, Pacquiao, or Bradley?
Marquez, Pacquiao, Bradley. Any one of those three. Any one of those
come
three.
On,
I mean,
don't give me no wimpy answers.
Who do I want? Manny Pacquiao, Juan Marquez, or Timothy Bradley?
Yeah.
I'd love a shot at any of them. I mean, they're three great fighters. I mean, you know, any of them. I mean, because you have Timothy Bradley. You know, he's a great fighter. I have nothing bad to say about him, but you know, he lacks a little power, and he's short. He's very short. Also, Marquez, he's you know, getting close to 40 years old, So, you know, he's not as fast as he once was, and he's very short for the welterweight division. So any one of those guys, you know, I think that you know, we just have to see their weaknesses, and I'm not scared of them. You know, as soon as they say, hey, you know, you got the opportunity versus Timothy Bradley, versus Juan Manuel Marquez, versus Manny Pacquiao, I say, let's do it. You know, let's get to work and figure out their soft spots, and you know, just, you know, hopefully they bring out the best in Jessie Vargas, and you know.
Man, see there, Jeff. I go and compliment Jessie, and then he totally wimps out on me. You know, he was getting good, and
everybody. Jesse, don't feel bad. You can trust that shit to everybody.
I don't want to call anyone out. You know, they're great fighters. I mean, they really are. I mean, I would love that opportunity at anyone.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's talk to Jeff here then. Jeff, Jeff, out of the three, I'm not asking you predictions on who would win or anything, but who do you think Jessie would have the best chance against, or the easiest time, or however you want to call it, and who would present the most problems for him of those three?
Well, I don't know. I would think he would match up best with Bradley, because Bradley's short. He has no punching power. He's just a workman. He's a guy that you could easily probably outbox if Jessie boxes him smart, stays on the outside and force him to, you know, and can force him to run into punches. You know, I think that, you know, and, you know, with Pacquiao is, you know, you never know. Pacquiao might not be no good for no one. You know, I mean, he might be, you know, he might be a shot fighter now. No one knows. You know, nobody knows the verdict of what happened. I mean, that was a devastating knockout, and some fighters can come back, and at this age in his career, he probably can't. You know, I mean, Marquez is on a high right now. So, you know, I think that a fight with Marquez would probably be the toughest fight out of the three. And, but me, myself, if it was me making the match, you know, it would be Tim Bradley, definitely. I mean, you have a better chance beating a guy that has no power. You know, I mean, he's tough as nails, don't get me wrong, but he's a guy that can be beat because Jessie has the style to beat him. He has the height, he has the reach, he has all the advantages over this guy, even though he may have those same advantages over, you know, over Marquez and even over Pacquiao. But, I mean, Bradley, he's a guy that's easy to hit. I mean, that was proven and that was shown. And he can easily be outboxed if you keep him on the outside. I mean, I think he's a guy that can easily be outboxed. That would be the fight for me. That's the fight that I would pick if I was a matchmaker.
See, there you go, Jessie. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. I mean, Jeff Mayweather knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? And I'll leave that to him. You know, he put it better than I could have. You know what I mean?
That's right. No, we really appreciate taking time, and you know, like I said, congratulations. It was a great fight. Like I said, you know, those that weren't fans already became fans from that. You had just a great performance. Can't wait to see what comes up next, whether it's Bradley or whoever it is. You know, I'm sure you'll be back and doing your thing again. So we look forward to that and look forward to the announcement. You know, just before we go, Jess, anything else you want to add? And have you gotten Twitter yet? Are you doing that, or what's up with you on social media? We got to get you in line there.
I haven't got it yet, but I'm moving on it. Hopefully, by my next fight, I'll have it for sure.
Facebook?
You know what?
You still on Facebook?
I have Facebook. I have Facebook. But you know, I also have a fan page, you know, on Facebook. So you know, if anyone could you know, like my fan page, you know, I'll keep everyone posted on any new updates that's going on in my career. Also, I want to thank you, Jody. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on. Ashley, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite. And you know, all my fans, you know, I want to thank them for all their support. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed the fight. And, you know, just stay tuned, and I'll let everyone know when the next fight is, you know, and I hope that that everyone enjoys that fight as well.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. Ashley, anything else you want to say to Jessie before we let him go?
No, congratulations. I definitely look forward to watching you again, and hopefully I'll be there ring guarding.
This time on my side, right?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing that you have to know about Alexz. You can never listen to anything he says. Like, if he says you have to pick, ask him a question because he sure won't pick. I'll tell you that much. So you just got to take whatever he says with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Well, plus, I know she's not a big fan of Mexican Americans, Jessie. So that's another thing. I didn't want to really bring it up.
Well, we have Mexican fan of Jessie Vargas, though.
Alex, that's not even funny and not even true. So I would like to say that's definitely not true.
No, it isn't.
No, I know Alex. I know he likes to joke around.
I do give it. See, Ashley, I came in with a nice intro song for you, and I had to go and screw it up after that. I apologize. Jeff, what about from you?
What about for me?
Well,
no, actually, I would like to thank Jessie for coming on once again, and I wish him all the best, in his career. I mean, like I said, I was training this guy when he was, basically a kid, and him and his sister, which she probably is a better fighter, but she grew up and she became too cute to be a boxer, so maybe she'll be a model now. So, but yeah, I wish Jessie all the best, all the best, and he definitely has my support in every way.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
All right, Jess. Well, we appreciate it, and thanks so much. And yeah, we'd definitely love to have you back. And we either before your next fight or after. Love to have you back on and talk about things again. And we really appreciate you stopping by.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, and I hope to get an invite soon after or before the next one. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jess.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, that was Jessie Vargas. Like I said, just moved to 22-0 with a impressive victory this past weekend over Lucky Boy Omotoso. Things looking good for him. What's that?
Unlucky boy.
Yeah, Jessie was a lucky boy. He got the win. And that's about do it for us. Ashley, I apologize. I'm just jealous as hell of you. You get all the breaks in life. Well, I don't say breaks. You made your own way, but I'm just jealous as hell. Everything's going your way. I gotta try to knock you down a notch, I guess. It's my jealousy.
You jealous you to make your own break?
That's not that funny. That's not that funny. And I am part Mexican. My last name is Ferrara, so I don't want anybody to think that I have ill feelings towards anybody, because I certainly don't. And maybe just a little less colorful jokes would be funny. I'm not sure. Maybe got to work on your humor.
Well, that's yeah, I definitely don't have best taste in jokes at times, so I do apologize. Obviously, you're a big fan of the sport, no matter what ethnic background, color, or anything else, any of the fighters. So I certainly didn't mean nothing about that. I apologize. Ashley, before we go here, like anything else as far as your your social stuff, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Ferrara, or on Instagram at Ashley Ferrara Model, and hopefully next week we'll have some less colorful jokes, but as some guests that are as cool as this week. So.
Yeah, all right. Jeff, anything else for you that you want to add?
No. I guess you can follow me on Twitter at...
Oh, you're going to do that today, huh? What's your Twitter handle?
At Jeff Mayweather 1.
And all right, and
I'm on Facebook. Facebook, and you can follow me and follow you on Pro Box Insider and MMA Insider.
Yeah. And
I'm good.
and this Thursday, check out Bellator and Spike TV. Ryan Martinez fighting there against Travis Wolf. He's been working with Jeff, so excited for that fight. And guys, until next week, we'll talk to the Emperor Jessie Ferrara and Jeff Mayweather. I'm Alexz Yzerman, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.